Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by a man who's been covering this industry for nearly a decade, over a decade, maybe a decade, Mr. Robert Lentini himself. He's now a writer for Sportskeeda. My friend, we had two pay-per-views this weekend. We had wrestling shows galore. The Forbidden Door has been open in both promotions. Where are you as a wrestling fan right now? Did you enjoy your weekend? Did you want some more free time back? Well, what's going on in your life?
I'm exhausted, especially after Double or Nothing. That was like 3 pay-per-views in one. That was the longest show I've ever seen in my life. And then they did a 2-hour press conference after, and I had to watch that. So like, I'm done with AEW for a week, but I have to watch it anyways. But yeah, overall, exciting times to be a wrestling fan, but also there's such a thing as overkill. And I thought this weekend was overkill. I was just dead exhausted. If you watch both shows, by the end of Double or Nothing, I was like, holy shit, like This is a lot. But it was still entertaining, but it was a lot.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that. We're going to go through all of it. We have some of our main card stuff to talk about, some of the biggest news in both WWE and AEW. Some of you might have seen a short of ours that went a little bit viral for this page about one person's contract status. We'll be talking about that shortly. And then we will end the show with the gimmicks of the week, the little short fire, small burst stuff that we don't think deserves a full 5-minute segment, but still is enough to talk about. And there's a lot of talking about it, especially when it comes to a chef's hat on one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But that's today's show. Mr. Lentini, let's jump right into the main card with the curtain jerker. And my friend, that has to do with one of my favorite wrestlers, and a wrestler that I did not know was as not everyone is on her side. Some people are ready for her to be gone, which surprised me because I thought Becky Lynch was as over can be. We made a short on our page. You can see it on our YouTube shorts. If you want to subscribe and help this channel grow, all the better for it. But Becky posted out there as Rebecca Quinn on Twitter. I'll essentially see you later. She's going to be taking some time off. She is not, as we know, under contract with WWE any longer, is essentially a free agent, and the rumor mill has begun. On this show, I am very much the AEW fan. You are very much the WWE fan. We are both wrestling fans, but we're both, if we're going to play into this tribalism thing, those are our two sides here. And I'm very much looking forward to the possibility of Mercedes Moné and Rebecca Quinn at London in a couple of months here. Is there any chance that happens?
I think there might be.
Really?
Shockingly. If Tony Khan is going to match or go over and offer a lighter schedule, she just had a kid. Maybe she's thinking about life, and she's trying to be an actress. She was in that Young Rock show as Cyndi Lauper. She's trying to do other things. So if she wants to be an actress, you can't really do that doing live events and traveling the world with WWE all the time. One day a week with AEW, you can do it. And if he offers more money, Tony Khan has infinite money, he could pull it off. And I think that would be even like a bigger signing than Mercedes Moné already, if I'm being honest. So just instantly overshadow her. But I would be all for it as a WWE guy, because Becky Lynch, I think she's done everything she needed to do. She's done everything there is to do in WWE. It would be a huge legacy move to go to AEW and like make that division better than the one you left behind. If she wants to do that, that would be pretty badass, and I'd be all for it. And I'm actually kind of rooting for it, just to be honest.
Really?
Because look at WWE's women's division. They got Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton. They got all this talent coming up. Who does AEW have? And I'm not trying to shit on like Gianna Purrazzo. They have one match with her, and then she's like gone. Taya Valkyria or whatever her name was. John Morrison's wife, who battled Jade Cargill, and then is just gone. They just sign these people, then they don't do anything with them. You can't sign Rebecca Quinn and throw her on Collision at 9:15. You know what I mean? She has to be front and center on Dynamite. So that I want it to happen. I am secretly, as a WWE fan, I'm more of a wrestling fan than just a WWE fan. I want it to happen. That's a badass story. And that's something that would just get us everybody talking like positive about AEW again, instead of idiots like me hanging on to the CM Punk thing forever.
Now, to me, the more likely scenario is that she's just going to enjoy life for a little while. Her husband is recovering from a couple of surgeries. They might just want to be parents for the next few months. And there's a lot of big shows down the line, SummerSlam and others, that she could maybe come back for, or maybe even we wait all the way to the Royal Rumble next year and she takes, maybe they want to have another kid. We don't know. But just to hear you, the man who, I mean, you say you're a wrestling fan, but people of this podcast know that you've been pretty pessimistic towards all of AEW, rightfully so, but definitely on the pessimistic side. For you to say that you want this to happen and you think it could happen, that might be the most optimistic I've ever been about this. That just brought me up 3 levels here, my guy. I would love to see it. As for the women's division in AEW, it boggled my mind that the Mercedes Moné and then Willow Nightingale match, and we'll move forward now with our second match on opening the mid-card here. It's the Double or Nothing review and everything that happened. Let's start right there with the ladies, because it boggled my mind that that was the longest women's match in the history of AEW. I thought it was an excellent match. I really enjoyed every second. I told you that Statlander turn was coming, and I thought it was done very well. I love this whole thing, man. I love everything that these ladies did the next day on Dynamite. Mercedes Moné now faces. We're seeing Mercedes Moné wrestle again. And it's fantastic stuff. She is excellent at what she does, even if she's back on playing a babyface role. But that's okay. We'll get past that really fast. I was amazed, though, that was at 18 minutes the longest women's match in AEW history, and that makes me really angry. So what do you have to say about that? And then we'll go through Double or Nothing.
Well, honestly, I did not know that until you just said that. I had not heard that. And that kind of makes sense, because he's just Tony Khan, for everything he does, dream matches galore, he's really struggled with the women's division, in my opinion. So he could use some help. And that's mainly why I want Rebecca Quinn there, because just put her in charge of the division after she retires. Like I'm talking about people that need to be like, put Bryan Danielson in charge of the men, Rebecca Quinn in charge of the women. Now we get a company. The less Tony Khan has to do, it's better for me. But I loved Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale's match. I love that twist, the Statlander turn. I thought it was expertly done. Stokely Hathaway is awesome. And Statlander looked like a Adonis. I can't think of another word on Dynamite. She looked incredible. She should be. I see. This is what pisses me off. And now I'm going to get back into my pessimism about AEW. I see fans going, Chris Statlander finally getting that singles push. She beat Jade Cargill to win the TBS championship last year, and they flopped. They did nothing with her. So that's why I don't get too excited, because I see all the talent that all these people have. What are you going to do with it? But Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale was great. I think Willow Nightingale came out of that match an even bigger star. She's a massive baby face. I think she's awesome. But overall, it was great. And I'm not a huge fan of Sky Blue yet. I think she was revealed to be the one who attacked Mercedes Moné in that locker room. Whatever with that. But once we get to that Statlander storyline and whatever, if Statlander goes after the TBS championship, whatever they get planning, I'm into it, just because Mercedes Moné is back in the ring. It's been fun.
There was a couple of retreads on this Dynamite, the Sky Blue thing being one of them. We're wrapping up stories that should have been wrapped up by the pay-per-view, like Swerve Strickland fighting Kill Switch because we had to do a House of Dragon promo and he cuts the hair off. You just beat Christian. You just beat the final boss. You shouldn't be facing a mid-card boss afterwards. But whatever, we're moving forward. Double or Nothing. The biggest things that came out of Double or Nothing, one of them was right at the start. MJF returned. He attacked Adam Cole. He's not coming back for a while. He's still dealing with that injury, baby. But MJF is back looking as tanned as I've ever seen. Man, MJF is back in our lives, man. Before we move on to the best matches of Double or Nothing, were you happy that this is how they revealed his comeback here? Are you happy? Obviously, you're happy he's back.
Yeah, I mean, the promo, it was a weird segment, and now it makes sense that they're like trying to wrap. Segment. Yeah, they're trying to wrap up the Adam Cole storyline, like, because he's still injured, still nowhere close to returning. The man jumped off an entrance ramp 6 months.
Crazy.
It's so sad. Like his AEW run, he's so talented. I'm not shitting on him, but it's just some guys are injury prone, and that just, man, hopefully he gets like a couple of years of greatness still.
Hopefully.
Like, I'm at that point with him. Like, it's getting sad at this point. But I didn't like the way they started that segment, because Roderick Strong had just been defeated by Will Ospreay, and Adam Cole was nowhere to be seen, and then he comes out after the match. I hate it. Do it before the match if you're going to do it at all.
Do it before the match. Have that open the show. Exactly, welcome to Double or Nothing. Adam Cole's music hits. That's the way you open the show. Sorry, keep going.
No, I completely agree with you. But once we get past that, once MJF just has the microphone in his hands, he's special. That's what I love. He's an asshole. I can agree with that, but that's what was magical about CM Punk. When he talks, people listen. MJF has that quality, and they can't let him go. I'm going to shout it They can't let that guy go. And thankfully, it appears he signed a new deal or an extension last year. He's got a tattoo of AEW on his calf.
That's
like
weird.
so. Here, yeah, I mean, he's going to be covering up with a WWE tattoo in 4 years, but it's going to be great for a while. And they need him back, man. It's just for people like me, for the people that like the wrestling style that I like, the promo story driven, less spot fest type stuff. They need that guy back, and he looks like the Wolverine, and he was dressed like Triple H in 2022. It was just a very odd segment overall, but good, decent promo. And I like how he said he's not going to be joking around anymore. He basically just said it's like no more of the singing and tap dance.
He's being the MJF we know and love. No more kangaroo kicks. I'm all for it.
I like the kangaroo kick though. I thought that was funny.
Well, everything he does, and it's truly this. Everything he does works because, as you said, there's a story behind it. He's not just pulling the kangaroo kick off because he saw it happen in a some random video online. No, there's stories behind this stupid shit that he does. But I'm very happy he's back. Speaking of Spot Fest, my friend, this is my favorite Spot Fest in a while. We have to talk about Jack Perry being set on fire and anarchy in the arena. I mean, this from Darby getting hit by a car, the scapegoat van that is now a character in our lives, the Elite going over, everything about this, my friends, the music playing, the final countdown bit. I thought, for as chaotic and as stupid as some of this stuff can be, I thought this was booked almost to perfection. Even to Darby doing his coffin drop off the scaffolding there to the beat of Final Countdown, right when like the chorus comes. It was so stupid, silly, fun, and everything that I enjoy about wrestling. I like being taken away. I like being, put me on a different stratosphere here and seeing all these characters interact the way they did. He was set on fire. And I know you hate that Brian Danielson was the one who took the pin here, but they are using it in storyline now with them coming out and saying Jack Perry defeated the Dragon. So were you a fan of this anarchy in the arena?
Yeah, I think this is where I separate from a lot of AEW haters or people who define themselves like that. I like this shit. I love this goofiness off the wall, the stadium stampede. I loved it. I don't care. I loved it. Not the one where Matt Hardy got concussed and still wrestled, but the other ones.
But the idea of it,
the anarchy in the arena. This was my favorite anarchy in the arena so far, just because it was a murder. There was a murder in the middle of the match, and then they both just walked down to the ring. If you're going to take that seriously, there's something wrong with you, not me. Something wrong with you. The guy drove in and the car exploded, and then they both walked, and then that guy got set on fire, and that guy won the match. That's ridiculous. While the other guy was suspended upside down for what looked like an hour, while Bryan Danielson was getting all his shit in. That was ridiculous. Bryan Danielson was doing the running knees and doing the yes chants. It's can you save the guy dying above the ring? If you think about it logically, it's awful. But if you just enjoy it for what it is, it's great. So I thought it was great because I can enjoy it. I can get lost in the bullshit sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Bob. I completely forgot he was hung upside down.
Yeah. Well,
there was so much that happened in that match. I forgot about that completely.
You messaged me. I think he's legit out. I think he was too. I think his blood went to his head. Bryan Danielson, the Young Bucks are both down. Just kind of pull him down. It was unbelievable.
It
was crazy. But other than
I had a blast. I had a blast watching it, dude.
I did too. And it was goofy as hell. And that's the one thing. It's I wish there was more seriousness in the promos following it. In the match.
See, I disagree. No, let's move forward to Dynamite. I disagree.
Okay.
I think the way the Elite were presented on Wednesday, I thought was this is exactly who I want them to be. I want Okada joking to the audience and saying that was 3 words that makes everybody laugh. Is this a dream when he sees the new car?
He told the audience to shut up, bitches. Okada,
shut up, bitches. Him crying that he got a new car. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson being as smarmy as they are. I loved Nick Jackson said the new shoes, the pump up shoes. He said the best selling Reeboks in the last few years, and he said it as if that was a big thing. And then the camera cuts to him, and he's smiling at his own joke because he knows it's a stupid thing to say. But I think they're playing it to perfection. I really enjoyed it. I love that they went over, and I love for the future of that company.
First, before we move on from their Dynamite segment, what do you think of Christopher Daniels as this Adam Pearce light guy, like the GM? I don't think it's a good thing, because if it means he can talk. Yeah. That's what I got. Correct. He called it Friday Night Dynamite. I'll give him a little slack there. But other than that, he can talk, and I think it's a good thing. And there's a little story behind that too, where they fired him.
Correct.
So I like that. I will give him credit for that. They're trying. It's just there's always going to be a disconnect with me with that group, I think, that I'm trying to get over.
Yeah, I get it.
But they're not my favorite personalities, if you will. So.
Speaking of disconnect, before we move on from Double or Nothing, is there anything else from that card, match specific, that stood out to you that you thought really, because there were a couple of really good matches, a couple of matches that were just there?
I thought the learning tree thing was awful, and I like Chris Jericho. I thought his match with Hook. Did you like that with Shibata and Hook? Okay, no. I didn't like that. I thought there was like the first hour and a half and the final hour and a half were good. There was like a middle hour that I was just looking at my screen like, why is this on pay-per-view? This could be on Rampage. There's too much match. There's too many matches. It needs to be either 2 nights or like 4 hours. You can't go 5. That's crazy, man. But other than that, no, there's nothing. The only thing I will say that I already forgot about the Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage match. I just feel like his title reign, like they need to get like we're going to get to that. Let's get to that next when we get to that next topic.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about
that was a lot of Double or Nothing. I do want to say I thought the Adam Copeland Malachi Black match really paid off in spades. I thought that was a well produced, a well booked, a well executed match, and we'll talk about Adam Copeland in a second. But I didn't want to leave Double or Nothing without saying that. Let's move on to the second mid card match, and we're going back to the WWE. And it's your boy, Chad Gable. He's in the news again, my friend. Why does he deserve to be on the mid-card once again?
Well, just an Oscar-worthy performance on Raw, first of all, when he tried to whip Otis with a belt as like an abusive dad. That was a ridiculous segment. I loved it. But now, much like Becky Lynch, his contract's up in a week. I don't understand what's going on in WWE. Like, the people they're pushing or having their contracts expire. I don't get what's going on there. So I can't imagine that Chad Gable would be going to AEW, but his contract, you just send me that link. His contract is up. Is that what's going on in a week? Yeah. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have a little bit of a theory here. And it's not just Chad Gable specific, but it's the past few, like Drew McIntyre. We've seen it a couple of times now. The WWE is not owned by WWE anymore. It is owned by a parent group. It is owned by UFC. And they have a lot of say now in how much money WWE gets and what their budget is. And they have to answer to someone that's not Vince McMahon. That's not Triple H. They have to answer to higher ups, and they have to prove that they're worth spending X, Y, and Z. And so we might see roster cuts in a different variety. We might not see guys get locked up for long term because UFC does not do that with their fighters. They play very hard with a hardball when they're coming to negotiating rights with, especially with their biggest stars. Because in the UFC world, there's nowhere else for them to go. In WWE, they do have AEW, but we know that they're not on equal terms. So what I'm thinking is happening is Triple H knows Drew McIntyre is going to re-sign. Triple H knows Chad Gable is going to re-sign. We want Becky Lynch, but to me, Triple H likely knows what's going to happen there. Yeah. And he's taking this time to show UFC and the parent company at Endeavor, look at how good Drew McIntyre is doing. We need to re-sign him. Look at how good. Look at the storyline chat. It draws X amount of ratings. It got idiot like Robert Lentini tweeting about it all the time. We need to re-sign him. And so Triple H, to me, is playing poker in that regard, where he knows this contract stuff is coming up. He has to convince the parent company that so-and-so is worth the money. And so he spends the couple of months here pushing him in a storyline and saying, we can't stop it now. Look at what he's doing. So that's what my conspiracy theory guesses is, because I would love to see Chad Gable re-sign with WWE. Would I like him in AEW? Sure, but to me, he's not better than a Roderick Strong or a Kyle O'Reilly, and that's essentially what he would be booked as in AEW. I don't think he's going to be in a bigger role if he comes to AEW. With WWE right now, he's getting the best run that he's had in his career, and so I want to see him re-sign with WWE, and I believe he will.
Yeah, I think Roderick Strong and Chad Gable are actually like a pretty good comparison. Yeah, I think Gable might be a little bit better talker. Amazingly, just Roderick Strong.
I'm right there with you. Yeah. I'm not convinced by Roderick's talking.
Yeah, he's a great hand. He's a great wrestler, but Adam Cole needs to be the leader of that group, healthy.
Yeah, but AEW has like Chad Gable, to me, as great as a wrestler he is, as great as a run he's going on now. Roderick Strong the same. None of them are standout guys. None of them are make or break guys.
AEW has 100 Chad Gables. They need more. They need more stars. They need more big names. And So yeah,
So I
focus
think
your money on
WWE
that.
keeps him.
Yeah, oh, yeah, me too. I don't think he'd be a fool to leave in the
Yeah.
middle of this. As long if as long as the offer is not insulting, he's in the best run of his career. He's going to be. I think he's going to be Intercontinental Champion in a few months. So
You've been
that's my
waiting for it
thoughts on
long enough.
yeah, I'll probably if we do this show still exists in 30 years, I'll still be saying Chad Gable with a gray hair on my deathbed.
Let's move on to the last mid-card match, and there's a reason we didn't talk about Swerve for too long because we're talking about him here. The Casino Gauntlet match for Forbidden Door that happened on WWE Dynamite. To me, an excellent gimmick. I really think they should lean into this stuff more. Throw on different shit than your competitors to make yourself stand out. And I really enjoyed even the guys I didn't know from New Japan or the anywhere else. Like I enjoyed
CMLL.
these guys.
Yeah.
I enjoyed these guys coming out and got to see them do their spot fest. And I want to see more of each of them right now. And then the winner happened. And I was very surprised. We heard Will Ospreay's music early, drew the biggest pop of the fucking night. And as soon as he came out, my mind goes to, I wonder how they're going to have him lose but not lose. Like maybe this is where we see his new feud for his new belt that he has. Like maybe Jay White takes him out and they fight each other off to the back, and that sort of eliminates him from this match. But no, Will Ospreay was never going to get pinned. Will Ospreay pinned. Instead, he won the match, and now it's Will Ospreay who has a new belt against Swerve Strickland, who is the Ultimate Champion. There is no chance in this world that either of these men should be fighting each other right now for a pay-per-view that clearly they want to sell. Yeah. Clearly, they looked at the Forbidden Door numbers from last year and said, hey, we need to have the big match that AEW fans are going to buy because we need to match pay-per-view ratings. And they said, let's do Swerve versus Ospreay right now. I don't know if I agree with it. Am I excited those two are wrestling? 100%. They're both effing awesome. Should they be wrestling right now in the builds of their characters? No, absolutely not. Not for Forbidden Door. This should be a London match. If this is going to be like the first of many, okay, maybe, but why? What's the finish here? One of these guys cannot lose clean because they're both being built to perfection. And this should not be the two heads coming together. This is not WrestleMania. This is not AEW's WrestleMania, and that's a WrestleMania-worthy match. So what did you think about Ospreay going over here, and how do you see this playing out?
I mean, I love Ospreay. I've really grown to I didn't know much about him, to be honest, before AEW. I don't really watch too much New Japan. I don't have so much wrestling. I don't have the time. I watch what I can, and he's unbelievable. But I agree. This isn't the time. They need to be putting Swerve Strickland up against people that can he doesn't need to be going up against your best baby face in the company when you're trying to make Swerve Strickland your best baby face in the company. You need to be putting him up against heels, and Will Ospreay should be on that slow climb and should either earn the title shot at All In at London, or if you want to hold off on it, do it later. But this feels really rushed to me. It feels like out of left field, like hot shot booking here. Let's get people to buy this Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I mean, it might work, I guess, but if I were booking this, I would have some kind of screwy non-finish here where Swerve retains. Ospreay somehow gets screwed over, gets more fan sympathy, but I would never have put myself in this situation to begin with. I don't like it. I don't like the decision by Tony Khan. I don't like it. You're forcing either Will Ospreay or Swerve Strickland to be handed a loss at a time they don't need it.
I will say the thing that I think will happen, because they did this at the last Forbidden Door, I think this is not a 1v1 when we actually get to Forbidden Door. I think we see a guy from New Japan or a guy from CMLL, or maybe two of them. Maybe it's a fatal four-way. And that's how we get both of these guys to be over and not have one of them take the loss. Because to me, you said it's hot shot booking. And we've talked over and over again about Tony Khan and his decisions here. Even as the AEW fan, I know wholeheartedly that man, he does too much. We'll put it that way. And there was a quote of him today saying they might be adding an hour to Dynamite, or they're thinking about it. There's too much. There's too much.
What about the mixed tag team champions? You excited about that? We might be bringing those. we got more titles. The
winners of the Owen Hart tournament can fight for those titles as well as the championship title, and then they can get the ROH piece of shit title, and then there's Taz's title that's now for the world. That's enough talking about AEW, but I'm right there with you. I think we hotshot that booking, and I'm not too excited about it, even though I'm so excited for those two men. I want to see them in the ring together. They're going to put on a great
course.
show, but not
But
like this.
it's the story. You need the story, and there's no.
Yeah.
It's just it's just Will Ospreay won a gauntlet match, and that's the story. So
Yeah.
they got to make it really interesting. We'll see how it goes, but that's enough AEW for now.
Let's move on to the main event. It is time for the main event, and it has to be the soap opera that is happening in WWE. Off the air, mind you. They did not catch this in time. They did not have the overrun on Monday Night Raw, but Liv Morgan wins the championship belt. We all saw that happen. Chicanery all around on how we got to that point.
Yeah.
But afterwards, her and Dominic lock lips, my friends. The star-crossed lovers have finally come together. And people still don't know if this is true, if this is false. All I know is they're playing very well on social media, both Liv and Dom playing this up. But the kiss happened, my friend. Where were you when the kiss happened?
I was on my recliner. But overall, Liv Morgan beat Becky Lynch on Saturday, King and Queen in the ring. Dominic Mysterio flew all the way to Saudi Arabia, wasn't in a match, was ringside for no reason during that match. It looked like inadvertently cost Becky Lynch. And then what happened Monday night on Raw, was comical to me. It was ridiculous. Braun Strowman chased JD McDonough around the ring and bashed into Dominic Mysterio, who cartoonishly flew into the door, and then that smashed on Becky Lynch's face. So fans are like, "Oh my God, it's an accident. He's the unluckiest guy in the world, this dirty Dom." Which I think the storyline is clear. Why the hell is he ringside for Liv Morgan's last two matches? I love this storyline, and I love the kiss, because when she kissed him, he looked like he wanted nothing to do with it. And then a video after Raw, I don't know if you saw this, WWE posted, Michael Cole walked by him, and he was like, "You son of a bitch," like screaming at Dominic, and he's just despondent on the entrance ramp. And then he tweets out Kermit driving fuck after. So there's just so much, like, I think he's in cahoots with Morgan. That's what I think the storyline is, but I like how they're putting enough doubt in there that it could be perceived that he's just the unluckiest guy in the world. But this storyline's great. Becky Lynch did not need to be champion. She's either taking a break or leaving the company. But Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan have a built-in storyline. Liv Morgan's the cause of Rhea Ripley's injury. The weird backstage stuff with the Judgment Day. She's been seen getting out of car with Finn Balor, talking to JD McDonough and Dominic backstage. I'm just all in. This is the type of storyline that just grabs me, gets my attention, and I'm all in, and I can't wait for Rhea Ripley to return, and I think she's going to take the title away from Liv Morgan the first chance she gets, as she should, but it'll be an interesting month or so when she gets back, that storyline, to see how they break away Dominic from the Judgment Day, because I think they're going to be doing that. I think they're going to be breaking that group up after Damian Priest's title reign, and everybody's going to be going separate ways, but that's just my prediction. But overall, what are your thoughts on this storyline? Are you as invested as me, as I've been rambling for 3 minutes now?
No, I don't know how you can say that he's the unlucky. I don't know how anyone can say he's the unluckiest man in the world when he's making out with Liv Morgan. I'm right there with you, man. I really think this has been very well done. I loved Rhea Ripley, and I love a lot of the people in that group, but I didn't really care about the Judgment Day, even when they had the Money in the Bank briefcase. But now it matters. I didn't really care about Liv Morgan, even when she came back as the 30th entrant in the Royal Rumble. But now it matters, and so all of that stuff I'm really enjoying, because they've taken this, and not just the belt, but they've taken all these guys and moved them up the ladder of shit that matters in a wrestling show. And I think it's been done really, really well. And I'm excited to see it continue. We're all now rooting for Rhea Ripley. Get well soon. Get back here. Let's get going. We want to see this fight, and it's well deserved. And I think expertly done. I've really enjoyed every second of it. Ripley, though, is not coming back anytime soon. So Liv Morgan will likely head into the next type of pay-per-view. You shaking your head?
Well, I don't know how significant her injury is. She might be back in a month. She might be back. She's not out for like the rest of the year or anything like that.
Well, it was a month ago, wasn't it? WrestleMania?
Yeah, she had to relinquish it. I don't know why I don't know what the severity. It's a shoulder injury. I don't know how long she's going to be out off the top of my head, but if she's out for a couple more months, that's fine. But if she's out for 6
that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't ever relinquish it if she's only out for 6 weeks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, then we're at like week 5 right now. So like, I think what I'm saying is, what's the next step for Liv? Who's the next fight for Liv? Because if it's not Ripley because she's injured, someone will need to be on the pay-per-view with Liv, and who do you think that should be?
I mean,
should it be Nia Jax, the queen of the ring?
SmackDown.
You're welcome.
She's on SmackDown. She's going to be facing Bayley at SummerSlam for the WWE Women's Championship.
Oh,
So
can't wait for that one, he said
because she won
sarcastically.
because she won the Queen of the Ring. She's going to be facing Bayley, and Gunther's going to be facing the winner of Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam as well. That is a banger of a match, and
Absolutely.
I have no idea. I would say Valkyria because she lost in the Queen of the Ring tournament, and give her another tough loss and keep building her character. They don't. Without Becky Lynch and without Rhea Ripley, that Raw roster is kind of, for the women's locker room, is kind of like, whew, like without like, so Liv Morgan's basically the biggest star in the division right now without Becky Lynch. So that's kind of shocking when you think about it in those terms. Yeah,
we did it. We got there. All right, that is it.
Give her a simple opponent. Give her someone she can beat easily for her first title match. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. They need someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
is
it.
A warm body.
For the main card of the week, it is time now for the gimmicks of the week. This is where we rifle through, speed round a couple of subjects that don't deserve the full 5-minute segment, but do deserve a little bit of shine. And the first one is our favorite, the social superstar of the week. Bob, there were a lot of contenders for this one, my friend, but we have to give it to the chef himself, Mr. Shawn Michaels. Why does Shawn get this?
Well, he booked a hell of an episode of NXT this week. He had Jordan Grace, who's the TNA Knockout Women's Champion. She's been making 6 figures. I just learned this for a few appearances in NXT. That's insane. Wow. I did not. That's ridiculous.
Good for her.
Yeah, and she's going to be facing Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship at NXT Battleground next month. I forget the date, but NXT is starting to get momentum now. And I'm starting to talk. I don't know who the hell Sexy Red is. I'm old. Someone tell me who the hell that person was twerking. But apparently that was a big deal. That missed me. I don't know who the hell that was, but she was very entertaining with the twerking. But that's about and then we'll get to the other guy that showed up in our debut of the week. But overall, it was a great night for Shawn Michaels, and he tweeted out a chef's hat because it was trending, and that tweet got like millions and millions of views. And it was just a great night for Shawn Michaels and a great tweet. Moving on, what do you got on this?
Someone explain to Bob who Sexy Red is. The get well soon of the week. This one's really sad because I've been on here for weeks clamoring that the Adam Copeland heel turn, the evil Adam Copeland, was coming, and we again got hints of it. He beat Malachi Black in a really fun barbed wire cage match. I thought everything about that was really well done, especially like the little double turn by House of Black.
I love that. Loved it.
And yet, during the match, he tries to do an elbow from the top of the cage to Malachi Black on the table, and instead of trying to land flat, he tries to land on his feet, and he tears himself up, man. And right now it says it's a broken tibia, but who knows what else might be going on down there. Eddie Kingston also had a broken tibia and also had knee injuries. He'll be gone forever. He was our get well soon not too long ago, and now we have to say it for Adam Copeland. It makes me really sad. The man's 50s. The man's in his 50s.
Yeah.
There's no promises. This killed Macho Man's career. Like there's that same move, and so there's no promises that that could have been the last match of Adam. Like I'm not trying to be Stephen A. Smith here, but that very well could have been the last match of Adam Copeland's career, and it makes me really, really sad. So get well soon, Adam Copeland, man. It was an effing great run, dude. I was so excited for the rest of it. We had just now reached the peak of his powers. AEW is getting so unlucky here with these injuries. But that one was,
Adam. Yeah, that one was he even admitted it in his video, which I appreciated. He's like, that one was like something he shouldn't have done. I understand he wants to be. That's just, you can't take the wrestler out of the wrestler. He wanted to do a cool spot. And
but that's what producers are there for. There's no one when they're going over that match saying, hey, man, maybe we do this.
Tony, that's my whole problem with AEW. Yeah. Tony Khan doesn't have a filter. There needs to be somebody in there be like, hey, let's not show that footage. Let's not have this 50-year-old jump off the top of the cage because he's a TNT champion and he's the biggest name we have at the moment, kind of.
Yeah. Now he's gone for probably at least half a year. Let's move on to a man that has gone for AEW for a long time. It's the debut of the week.
What is it?
And I want to hear what you have to say about Ethan Page debuting in NXT.
Well, I said I made a short about this too. Not as viral as the Becky Lynch one, but got an adequate amount of views. But I'm just kidding. The Ethan Page, I was very frustrated with Ethan Page's time in AEW, and then they kind of relegated him to ROH. I mean, I'm not. Give me a reason to sign up for Honor Club, and maybe I'll consider it. But I'm not watching that shit. Athena Ember Moon has been champion for 2 years. Did you know? I didn't. That's I don't blame him for wanting to get the hell out of there. Just throwing him in ROH. That's just like go die in ROH. So but also interestingly, after the day after, he said he's not signed. He said he doesn't have a contract. Is still waiting for the call. So he just appeared. That's an update to that. So he hasn't actually signed with WWE, but it could be a storyline as we.
If he is signed, how do you feel, Ethan Page? Are you excited for Ethan Page in NXT?
Yeah, he's a character. He's not a great. He's an okay in-ring guy, but he's a character. He has charisma. But he cut promos. He was a part of the Firm faction. Do you remember that?
Yep. I mean,
I hated that. Yeah, it was a disaster. And he would just have these Hawaiian shirts and sunglasses and cut these stupid promos that if anybody backstage, anybody just grabbed him and be like, dude, you got so much talent. Here's what you got to. Nobody did that for him. And he needs guidance. And I hope he gets it in NXT, but it's sink or swim now for him. He has to succeed in NXT or he's just going to be an independent guy.
Yep. I genuinely have nothing for Ethan Page. I've watched everything he did in AEW and ROH. I don't care. Like we talked about how there's, a million Roderick Strongs and Chad Gables. To me, those guys are light years ahead of anything Ethan Page has ever done. And I understand I haven't watched the indie stuff of Ethan Page. I've only seen AEW and ROH. And I've never gone away from one of those shows saying, you know what was great tonight? Ethan Page. And I'm sure he's a good guy. I know he was helping book matches in the back. He was helping doing all that stuff. So he knows wrestling. Don't get me wrong.
He runs his own. He runs his own independent promotion in Canada.
Yeah,
too.
So he knows wrestling, but so does QT Marshall. And that's what I think of when I think of Ethan Page. That's the level of where he is to me. So him debuting in NXT, I hope he has a great run. But so did Lexis King. And again, I like the guy, but to me, they're interchangeable. I don't see the future. So I hope he does well, but to me, not a huge loss for AEW. Now, the next man that'll be debuting in NXT will be a huge loss when Ricky Starks shows up. But I've never even come close to the same level on Ethan Page. Sorry to all Ethan Page stands out there.
I just think you can cut a promo, and AEW has one guy that can do that. So they should probably try to hold on to more of them.
Speaking of people who can or cannot cut a promo, the Big Show turn of the week. We were talking about the Elite earlier. They came out. They were big and strong. They were great. Then Christopher Daniels comes out and says, I am now the authority figure. They're going to go beat him up. They're going to go beat CD down to a pulp. And who comes out to make the save? The Acclaimed. Man, I am so ready for it's mostly Max Caster. I love the other two, but there was zero pop when the Acclaimed music hit. Did you care?
It's over. It is over. I'm not even they got to break that stuff up, man. There's stuff that they held on for too long, like the Jericho Appreciation Society. I wanted to be broken up for 9 months, and they finally did it. Let's get the Acclaimed separated. Max Caster, I don't know. But the only best part about the segment was when they came down, some lady shoved something in Bones' hand when he was trying to do the scissors. I'm getting my dates mixed up. Did you see?
Your dates mixed up. But yes, I remember that too.
Yeah, that was that was at the pay-per-view. Never mind.
Let's move on to the Mankind spot of the week. This is the spot that takes things a little bit too far. My friend Jack Perry was set on fire.
Yeah, you could just have the whole match just be the Mankind spot of the week, and just anarchy in an arena the entire match. But Jack Perry getting set on fire after he murdered a man who was alive and set him on fire 10 minutes later. Yeah, that would be the spot of the week. Or Darby Allin being suspended upside down, or Darby Allin jumping from the rafters. It's crazy. That match was crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if it was real fire. And the last thing we're going to talk about, this is a new gimmick and one I want to debut. We might even change the name of it, but it's the future endeavors of the week. Maybe the Ryback man of the week.
Big guy.
That works.
See you later, Jake Hager. Will we ever see Jake Hager in a wrestling ring ever again?
Maybe. Oh, Jesus. Maybe some independent shows. I doubt TNA wants him. WWE sure as hell won't bring him back. I'm going to miss the purple bucket hat. That was my favorite thing about Jake Hager. I like the purple bucket hat. That was everything's goofy in AEW. So that was the Jake Hager's purple bucket hat. He debuted he was do you remember his debut in the promotion? And
big deal.
Yeah. What the hell happened with that? It's just
I mean, what the hell happened with it? He can't cut a promo and he can't really wrestle. I was being honest.
True.
And it's a good guy. He's a nice guy.
Something with the character other than a bucket hat.
I thought the best he did was that he was Jericho's Redwood,
Yeah,
who Big
the
Bill is now,
bodyguard.
which by
Yeah.
the way, Big Bill has been doing great. That little Jericho TV time segment, Big Bill was a shining star.
What do you
But
think about the
Jake Hager
bounty
can never
hunter?
be what Big Bill is doing.
What do you think about the bounty hunter?
Listen, you can't call yourself a bounty hunters need to be intimidating, and you can't call yourself a bounty hunter if Chris Jericho is bigger than you. I'm sorry.
Right.
I cannot
Yeah.
take you as an intimidating figure if you're an unfit man who is shorter than Chris Jericho. And I am an unfit man. I get that.
Me too.
But you can't. You have to. If you want to be intimidated, you better start cutting people like you're a butcher. Like that's the only way I'm going to find you intimidating when you're smaller in stature and less athletic than Chris Jericho at age 77 that he is right now. But that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show episode, whatever number we're on at this point. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, forward us. Bob has one more thing to say before we head out.
Well, we just skipped headlines this week because we didn't really have any, but I would just say my headline for WWE, go the hell out of your way to sign Becky Lynch. Give her anything she wants. Do not let her go to AEW. That's would be my headline because she's that big of a star and this is that important for them. It's a bad look if Becky Lynch walks to AEW.
And my headline of the week is AEW do the exact same fucking thing. That is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. For Tony Squares, for Mr. Robert Lentini, that's all we got for this week. But before we leave you, once again, we're checking in for this week in Ryback.